Oh, hello. Uh, didn't think about how my hand was just covering the microphone. Which, by the way, so this won't happen in the future. Instead of getting a handle, which I probably needed, I got myself a microphone. Woo! So, no, it still needs to charge. I just barely got it today. I opened it up in excitement, not realizing what it was. Saw what it was. It was like, okay, I need to put that off to the side. But today I'm going to be talking about the time that I broke my arm at 3 years old. Um, I honestly, I don't even remember much of the story, but it very clearly happened because there are adult people that have recalled the story to me multiple times and they gave the details to me so vividly that I can now retell the story to you. And since it's a story about me, I should be able to explain it. Uh, but I don't. I feel like I should inform you. I don't remember any of this. 3 years old. I am not able to talk yet at all whatsoever. I act like a. I clearly act like a toddler, but I am not capable of voicing myself. And like most kids very unintentionally go under the radar. Maybe it's because I know like a while back ago it used to be like the cultural thing to do within um I'm not sure if it's all European countries, but like culture within England that got transferred over into America and stayed around for some time. Um but I think it's just because I was very quiet and was not able to draw attention to myself the way that my brother was able to draw attention to himself. So we my parents, very giving, very big-hearted people, took in a dude that was a teenager at the time, and he was so huge that, and when I mean huge, I mean very tall. He could have been a football player if he wanted to, but he was having family complications at home, and so my family took him in to basically so that he wasn't homeless at the time. And he, from what I heard, he was a great student, and now he's obviously adult and do. Sorry, my uh light shield just jumped down a bit and shocked me, but I he was helping babysit me because my parents didn't have that much money. And so whenever someone did come over and like got free housing from us, we basically, it was implicated of, oh, you stay here for free, but you may have to do free babysitting. And that's what happened with him. And little me needed either to get some food because I was hungry or I was thirsty, so I needed to go from my room to go downstairs. So normally, I guess I would sneak downstairs, grab it myself, take care of it, and then go back upstairs. And weirdly enough, I do have memories of that where I just woke up randomly in the middle of the night, walked downstairs, snuck down, depending on how late it was, and then get myself water, drink it, and then go back upstairs. So again, kind of like how with the climbing up trees story, I knew how to do it. I knew what to do, so didn't have I didn't think there should be any issues. My family is coming back around, so I'm gonna lower you a bit so that you don't see them. Hello. Um and the thing was, because he was obviously babysitting, he stayed awake to make sure that he could be able to take care of the situation. But or basically try to help take care of us if we were awake. That's what I meant by situation. But little me couldn't talk yet, so he was trying to get an answer out of me through communication, which I couldn't do yet. So he's just like, "Hey Jess, why are you awake? What are you doing? You need to get back to bed." And I was pouty and not working, communicating with him, and was like, I need to get, most likely thinking along the lines of, I need to get water, please step out of the way. And he wouldn't let me do so, especially because he was built like a football player, probably like one of the people that could tackle another person kind of uh, physique. And so it was, even though I was super small, it was still tougher to get past him. And then, not that much context for the rest of this, but he called my parents. And my parents did not have cell phones at the time. I don't think they were actually a thing yet. But he called and. Oh, Bailey's gone. I can move it up so you can see more tree and I can actually hold. I can actually hold like. I can hold it pretty well now. My parents get a call from him that I fell down the stairs and I got really hurt. And I was screaming and he didn't know what to do with me and he was full on panicking. He was a teenager, that's understandable. And my parents dropped everything to drive back home. But with because we lived so close to the city, it was very common that even a quick drive wasn't really that quick. It took like 40, I'm not sure how long it was, but by the time he called my parents, he also then called 911, and 911 got there before my parents did because they're able to avoid the light or change the lights so that it fits in their on their behalf, whereas my parents had to follow the lights and all the other directions. And when you live in the city, it just takes longer to go to places, and especially when you're driving in the car. And so my parents rushed home to find that I was like in those makeshift beds and they put me down in it and I was screaming. I'm not sure if I was kicking or what the whole context was because, again, this is a retold story of me. But the individuals that had the hospital car, okay, I need to backpedal a bit. My parents hate city government workers. And when I'm not talking like paperwork individuals, it's a case of they've had a hard time dealing with medical people because we needed government assistance and would never give it to us when we actually needed it. But then they were just so ready to take advantage of us in any aspect that they could, mostly because we lived in a poor neighborhood and we were actually responsible citizens, and we had people tell us like, oh no, they now know you're responsible, so now they're going to try to get you in any way, shape, or form to get your money. And at first my parents didn't believe them until like multiple instances of events kept happening where now they're just like, yeah, screw city police, screw screw government workers in cities, because my parents think that they just think so highly of themselves and think that the individual is stupid. So this was one of those times where I get pulled into the hospital bed, into the hospital not the hospital bed, but the car, the out of the ambulance vehicle. And I am allergic to some like medicine and stuff that's very common, and they turned to my parents and said, anything that happens to this kid, we like basically said we could do whatever we want to her because she's now under our jurisdiction. And my family is very literal. They thought that they would accidentally kill me and just wipe their hands of it because they accidentally gave me something wrong, or that they could commit an actual crime and then just get away with it because they are the law, so they can work with the law to get away with it. So my parents were like, absolutely not. Took me the from the truck, took me into their car, and then drove off to the hospital. And it was a while, but we got to the hospital, and then the doctors gave out paperwork that basically said the same thing of, even if we accidentally kill your daughter, like a paperwork that said, even if we accidentally kill your daughter, you cannot sue us. Like, this is freedom. This is like what we give as a statement to clear us of any mishap that we do on our end. And my parents are saying, absolutely not. We are not going to allow you to just accidentally kill our daughter because you didn't listen to us. And they're like, well, if you're not going to sign the paper, we're not going to take her in then. And my parents, with me, just in pain, just waited and waited and prayed. And they found out that from the babysitter taking care of me, that I had tumbled down the stairs, landed on my arm, and it snapped. So they genuinely thought that I broke my arm and waited for hours. And they're also very religious people, so they prayed and they prayed. And after staying there for like 5-6 hours, they said, okay, they're not going to work with us, so we're going to leave. And then the doctors by that point were like, okay, we don't want you to sue us, so now we'll take her in. But at that point, they were like, you weren't even listening to us to begin with, so we're done here. Because there's very much a case of they try to work with us and then still do what they wanted anyway. So took me home, wrapped up my arm, and also I was very little, and kids bounce back pretty easily comparatively. So they got an x-ray done in the beginning and saw that like a good chunk of it was like separated. Like, I should not have been able to and then I was about to say I should not have been able to properly heal that quickly. But realistically, I was 3 years old, so I probably had better chances, actually. But then they carefully wrapped up my arm and like healed it, like did different motions, kept making sure it stayed still. And then I'm not sure if it was a month later or if it was 2 months later, but we went to another place, had a screening, and found out that my arm had perfectly healed, better than it was before. So that it's a fun story for me because, I mean, I do believe in spirituality stuff, but that story to me just tells of how durable or how strong us humans are. If we know how to take care of ourselves, most of us will be able to properly be able to take care of ourselves, and that we should use our ability to help one another when we aren't in that category particularly. So yeah, please like the video if you like the story, uh subscribe if you like hearing me ramble, and I'll let you go. Bye.